Hey, welcome. So if you're an ASO strategist, you know that your Google Play description is so much more than just a block of text, right? It's one of your most powerful tools for getting downloads. Today, we're going to break down exactly how to architect the perfect description, turning it from an afterthought into a real engine for your app's growth. Let's dive in. So, let's ask a serious question right off the bat. Is your app's description actually helping you? Or is it maybe working against you? Is it just a list of features, or is it a compelling story that really connects with users and speaks the language of the Google Play algorithm? If you're not sure, hey, no worries. That's exactly what we're here to fix. Here's our game plan for today. First, we'll quickly touch on why these descriptions are so important. Then we'll lay down the foundation with a pre-writing blueprint. The main event, of course, is the 8-block writing method. This is the secret sauce. And finally, we'll cover how to polish your work and even get it ready to go global. Let's be crystal clear. Your app's long description is a strategic asset. It's not just filler text. It actually has two incredibly important jobs. First, it has to convince a real person to hit that download button. And second, it has to signal to the Google Play algorithm what your app is all about. If you can nail both, you're going to have a serious edge over the competition. To make this whole process way less intimidating, we're going to think like an architect. It all happens in 3 phases. We start with the blueprint. This is where we do our research and plan our strategy. Then comes the build, where we actually construct the description using a proven method. And finally, we have the inspection, where we double-check everything and polish our work till it shines. So that brings us to phase 1, the blueprint. You would never, ever build a house without a plan, right? The same thing goes for your description. A little bit of prep work up front is honestly the difference between a description that just sits there and one that actually performs like a pro. So, what exactly goes into this blueprint of ours? Well, first, you need your primary and secondary keywords. Think of these as your main search term and all the related ones. You absolutely have to know your app's core value and who you're talking to. And of course, keep that 4,000 character limit in mind, along with any compliance rules. This checklist is your rock-solid foundation. Okay, a really critical part of our blueprint is this thing called keyword density. It sounds technical, but it's super simple. It's just how often your main keyword shows up in your text. This is a massive signal to the Google Play algorithm that helps it understand what your app is all about. Now, what's the magic number here? Well, you're aiming for a keyword density of at least 3%. But honestly, the real sweet spot, the goal that's going to give you the most impact, is 4%. This makes sure the algorithm definitely sees your keyword, but it keeps the text from sounding like a robot wrote it. And the best part? You don't have to guess how many times to use your keyword. There's a simple formula for it. You just take your target percentage, so let's say 4%, multiply it by your total word count, and then use the ceiling function. All that means is you just round up to the next whole number. Boom. That's the exact number of repetitions you need. All right, our blueprint is done, which means it's time for the most important part, the build. We're not just going to start writing randomly. We're going to use a structured 8-block method that creates a compelling story, a story that carefully guides a user from just being curious all the way to hitting install. And here it is, the whole structure at a glance. We kick things off with an emotional hook. Then we clearly identify the user's problem and present our app as the perfect solution. After that, we build trust with features and real-world examples, and we close it out with a super strong call to action. Every single one of these blocks has a very specific job to do. Let's break down those first 3 blocks. The emotional hook is all about making an instant connection. Then, block 2, problem recognition, is where you make the user think, oh wow, yes, that is exactly my problem. Then, in block 3, you swoop in and introduce your app as the hero, the specific answer they've been looking for. And as you can see, there are even guidelines for word counts and keywords for each block. Okay, now let's talk about building some credibility. Block 4 is where you show off your app's powerful features. And you'll notice this is the longest section. Block 5 brings those features to life with real-world examples. And Block 6 is so important. It tackles any security and privacy fears head-on, which is a huge part of building trust with your users. And finally, we close the deal. Block 7 is all about reassuring the user about your app's technical quality, that it's well-built and reliable. Then, Block 8, the reinforced call to action, makes the next step totally obvious and compelling. It's that final nudge to download now and solve your problem for good. So the description is written, but we are not done yet. Not by a long shot. Now it's time for that final inspection. This is our quality control phase, where we check absolutely everything from our keyword density to policy compliance, just to make sure our hard work is actually going to pay off. And this checklist shows the most important checks you have to make. Google Play has some really strict policies. You can't use words like best or number one, you definitely can't mention your competitors by name, and you can't make any crazy exaggerated claims. But above all, the text has to be easy to read for a normal person. Violating these rules is a fast way to get your app in trouble. Here is a perfect example of what we mean by readability. The before version is just clunky. It's overstuffed with keywords and it sounds unnatural. But the after version? It uses the same keywords, but they're woven into a smooth, natural-sounding sentence. This is exactly what you're aiming for. Powerful for the algorithm, but pleasant for a human to read. Now, during your inspection, you're probably going to hit a few common snags. Don't worry, if your keyword density is too low, just find a natural place to add it in one of the other blocks. If you're over the character limit, tighten up your language, but don't cut your keywords. And if a plagiarism checker flags something, don't just tweak it. Rewrite the whole sentence from scratch. So, once your description passes that final inspection, you are ready to launch. But what if your app is for a global audience? The good news is, this whole structure is designed to be adapted, not just translated. This is probably the single most important piece of advice for going global, so listen up. Never just plug your description into a translation tool and call it a day. It doesn't work. You have to reconstruct the description natively in the new language. That means doing new keyword research and recalculating your keyword density all over again. Yeah, it's more work, but it's the only way you'll succeed in different markets. And there you have it, the completed architect's blueprint for crafting a high-performing Google Play description. You've already done the hard work of building an amazing app, and now you have all the tools you need to tell its story effectively. So the only question left is, what story are you going to tell?